the Chase Thomas Podcast, for people who have nothing but time to kill.
The Falcons are at the moment. Garrett, Chapman, with Desmond Ridder now benched going into the final 2 weeks of the season. Taylor Heinicke back under center against the Colts on Sunday afternoon at the Benz. Is the Desmond Ridder era officially over in Atlanta?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's pretty clear. They've talked about growth and development throughout the course of this season, but at the end of the day, it's like there is one thing that's more valuable than gold on a football field, and that's the football. More valuable than any stat that you can ever glean, like you're talking about. It's taking care of the football. And Desmond Ridder is far too reckless with the ball in his hands. He turns the ball over. He puts the ball on the floor far too often. Just going under center, he drops snaps, and that's a correctable error, and one that has been consistently rearing its head throughout the season. And then we could talk about that interception that he threw at the end of the game, which is just dreadful. I think people who picked Taylor Swift would have been watching the game and been like, "Oh, don't throw the ball there. Throw the ball out of bounds." Mm-hmm. Like, she's been watching games since she's started dating Travis Kelce. I mean, like, what? Even she would know that. I mean, come on. It's a ridiculous thought. I mean, the Desmond Ridder's done. It's over. We had low expectations for him coming into the season. We said on this podcast, I said it on my show, I said it everywhere. All you have to do is come in and be league average. Like, that's my ceiling for you. And if you can do that, then the Falcons are going to be successful and they'll take a step forward. And we're looking at a 9-10 win team. Well, they didn't do that. They didn't take that step forward because your quarterback has been not really debatably the worst quarterback in the NFL. And he hasn't been able to take you to the next level that we thought that he would be able to at least take him a step up from what Marcus Mariota was last year. And in fact, we took a step back, and that's just unacceptable. And look, we could talk about the how Arthur Smith is tied to him in the future there. I'm sure we're going to do that here in just a second. But at the end of the day, it's like he has been dreadful. And we've seen the flashes. We've seen the good things that have come. But it's hard to focus on the good things when they show up so sporadically and almost as sporadically as the terrible back-breaking decisions that he makes under center. And at the end of the day, it's like, I've seen enough to move in a different direction. We probably, most people saw enough in the 4 games last season to move in a different direction, much less to not have anybody else. There is no plan B. Taylor Heinicke was never really a plan B. Taylor Heinicke was, everything is flown out the window, and it's our last gasp at a potential season-saving move. That's all he is, and that's all he was supposed to be. But now they're turning to him, and that tells you all that you need to know.
It really is, and it's just one of those. And I wonder, too, if you had just played Ridder more than 4 games last year, how different this year's team looks if he had actually given him more time to just see what you had before going into this year, just being like, Des is our guy. I don't know if you feel the same, Max, but I mean, look, I think Ridder wasn't going to work out either way. It's clear that he's an older quarterback anyway coming in. He was a 3rd-round quarterback for a reason. He was in one of the weaker quarterback drafts. Like, it was always just kind of like, these guys rarely work out. I remember we talked about it before the year of the stats of 3rd-round quarterback success rate in the NFL, and you go through the names, and it's not a lot of success there. So the Falcons were putting a lot of eggs in this very, very miss-heavy basket, and it hasn't worked out. And I mean, Taylor Heinicke wasn't even the right plan B, where Gardner Minshew is going to guide the Colts maybe to the playoffs, and he was right there. And look, that's like a whole thing. I'm not going to hit the Falcons hard for going the wrong way in the backup quarterback market, but also they've done it kind of twice with Mariota last year, and then Taylor Heinicke this year. You kind of missed there too. I mean, they've missed all over the place when it comes to quarterback, and it's very frustrating, Max Marcovitch. And it also, can we roll out curses based on how they treated Matt Ryan at the end of his career, going behind his back to try and bring in a certain player not to be named on this very show, Max?
I won't talk about curses, but I think the harder question to ask is not whether they got the wrong backup quarterback. It's whether that shows you the difference between Shane Steichen and Arthur Smith. Like maybe, but Taylor Heinicke showed plenty in this past X number of years of his career to say that he should have been a viable plan B if you were going to go with the Ridder 1A route. And I think Steichen makes it easy for Minshew, and Arthur Smith makes it hard for Heineke. And I think that that's the crux of the question of the Arthur Smith question here is like, is this salvageable? And I don't blame Ritter. Like he was a 3rd round pick. Like you can count on one hand how many good 3rd round pick NFL quarterbacks there are in the league today or really have ever been. And like, to me, it's like it's always just the game's a little too fast for him. And like when it's all there and it's schemed up and the guys are open, like he looks like a pretty good quarterback, and like he can make the throws, and like he's athletic, and like he's pretty good on escapability and navigating the pocket. It's just too quick for him, and like he makes these predetermined reads that just result in like boneheaded decisions because he's trying to like, it's all in the head. And I've never played quarterback in the NFL, and I never will, unfortunately. But like, I can't imagine it's very easy to play quarterback when it's all just like spinning. And I think that's what it was. I think when they first benched him, that's what Arthur Smith kind of said, is he needs to like slow down. And that's a red flag, man. Like you can't slow down for so long. And these are NFL defenses, and like it's not just gonna like click for you. And like, I don't really care who plays quarterback on Sunday. It really doesn't matter to me. Neither of these guys will be the starting quarterback week 1 next year. We can say that for certain. But I do think like the way he went back and forth this year, it's just like he's flailing. I mean, Arthur Smith's flailing. And like, I have defended him. I think I've defended him more than most Falcons fans because I think he comes off like super gruff and like annoying in press conferences. And so that like colors your opinions of him. But if you want to say he was arrogant, he was arrogant about quarterback coming into this year. Like, not the rest of it. Like, he was arrogant and said, you know what? We don't have to like make a swing. We don't have to like take a risk. Like, we don't have I can turn Desmond Ridder into what Ryan Tannehill was. He can be good enough for us to make the playoffs, and we have him on this contract. Like, we don't need to trade up for CJ Stroud or Anthony Richardson. Like, no, I'll take this guy and he'll be good enough, and let's build the rest of the roster. And I think that was arrogant, and I think it was wrong. And that's why things are where they are. I don't really care about the first 2 years of this regime. I think they did a pretty good job. And I don't really care about like the quarterback position and the Mariota stuff. And like the Matt Ryan ending was messy, but like that was coming anyway. The failure was this year at quarterback and being like, I am good enough as an offensive mind to like make this work. And he wasn't. And if he loses his job for it, like it'll be deserved, in my opinion.
Garrett, with all that being said, do you trust Arthur Smith to find and develop the next guy? Or
Go. Nicely done, nephew. The Chase Thomas podcast. Hell yeah.